EVs. It must be Filippo's story.
Correct. As part of the big, beautiful bill that passed the Senate and was signed by the president last week, the EV tax credit, which is $7,500 if you qualify, if the car qualifies, and there's a used EV tax credit as well, will be phased out more quickly than expected. So it'll be done in September of this year. After that point, there'll be no more EV tax credits.
Wow.
So if you want to lease a Model 3, if you want to lease an Ioniq 5N, if you want to lease a Mach-E, it'll be notably more expensive because the federal government is not subsidizing it by $7,500.
There is no EV tax credit at all?
No EV tax credit at all. Now, there are, to be very precise, there are some credits that still apply to auto manufacturers if they manufactured batteries in the U.S., if they open plants that build batteries in the U.S. There's some tax credits for them, but there's no consumer level tax credits.
Right. So the idea is
at the federal level.
I just don't understand how you can justify we are sitting here knowing that other country, and we're going to get comments like, we don't need those EVs, you guys need to stick to. But like, how do you justify when other countries are manufacturing high quality, top level vehicles and making inroads into global foreign markets where our automakers are sometimes number one, like Ford in Latin America and in parts of Europe, and you see China coming in with these EVs that are so heavily subsidized by the government? How do you justify our government saying, peace out, we're done, we're going to just back off this? It's like a self-own.
Yep. The rationale that they would share is probably that if there is demand for these, you don't need to incentivize them. You don't need the federal government to intervene. But clearly, a lot of EV adoption in the U.S. has been driven by there being large incentives, by that bringing the price down to competitive levels. Your point, I think, is a valid one.
I mean, there's incentives for so many things. People are complaining EVs. Well, there's no EV incentive. We don't need EVs. If there was an incentive, if there wasn't an incentive, people would buy them. It's, like the government's putting the incentive on, and that's the only thing that makes people buy. Well, the government puts a massive incentive on buying a home, right? You can deduct your mortgage interest. That's a huge government incentive. Do people take advantage of that? Does that artificially inflate property values? Probably. It's probably also generally good, at least for homeowners. In this case, this would be good for the American people, the American auto industry.
Yep. It's a very head in the sand approach.
It's a shame to do this because obviously the way that the automakers will respond is by presumably not putting as much R&D into electric cars because the market won't demand them in the short term. But in the long term, other countries will, realizing that this is obviously the future. I think even the Republicans would probably agree about that. In the long term, the other automakers will then be way ahead. And when it does finally come time for the American brands to come back into the old EV world, we're already going to be way behind. It's unfortunate. The government incentivizes a lot of stuff in order to get it off the ground before the public is ready. And once the public then gets there, then we already have a built-up industry. Anyway, I know it's a little bit of a political story, but I'm disappointed by it. I'm not an EV guy. I've never owned one. I'm not that into them. But they serve a massive purpose. I mean, you see how many Model 3s and Model Ys are getting sold. They're great commuters. They're great point A to point B, boring, easy cars, Uber and taxis.
Yeah, they're fantastic for that. And so I guess the question then is, if this de-incentivizes major manufacturers to stop developing these cars, what does that do for companies that only produce
Yeah,
EVs?
I mean, we can't foretell the future. There's a lot of analysts, kind of like stock analysts, that do expect that this will help Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, companies that will have to continue to invest in that to live. There's also a question, though, of can those companies survive if there is an over incentive?
I will say, have you been on Tesla's website? Kenan, go to Tesla's website right now. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Tesla's website right now has a massive banner at the top. The biggest like banner I have ever seen on Tesla's website. $7,500 federal tax credit ending. Come get your car.
Yep. Now, some of the really expensive EVs have already not qualified, right? Part of the Inflation Reduction Act that the Biden administration passed limited what price changed the cap for prices, and made it so the car needs to be built in the U.S. with some U.S. componentry. So some of, especially the higher end EVs, have not been receiving a tax credit. So maybe that means that Rivian, Lucid are a little bit less impacted. Yeah. But nonetheless, big deal.
Nonetheless, it's an interesting thing. To be honest, I think we should probably be going in the other direction. I think we should probably be forcing automakers more and more to figure out new and better technologies so that they can compete on the global scale. America is not the only country anymore, and it's not even the largest market. You laugh, but for a long time, America was like the car market. You know, like if you could succeed in America, you were a global automaker. And now Asia exists, and these other developing markets will start to be invaded essentially by Chinese brands because American brands aren't going to be up to their standards. Yep. And that's partially because of decisions like this. Anyway, that's just my take. I'm not an EV person myself. I got a V10, V12. Kenan, we're
you got a charge port ready to go in your garage. You're ready to make that switch when it happens.
Yeah, but I'm not like jumping out there to buy an EV. They got to come to me with a Mercedes wagon first.
Matter of time.
There it is. That's right.
All right, give us our next news story, please. Yes.
More EVs.
Speaking of EVs, Filippo, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, Slate is. I said this when Slate announced their premise, which was we're a new car that is under 20 grand. That was driven by a $7,500 tax credit. That's gone. Period. Yeah. The Slate will not be out before then, obviously. That's gone. So that's now a $27,500 truck in the pricing that they announced when they launched as a publicity stunt.
Right.
That's not an appealing new car price. That's not like a cheap vehicle anymore.
No, the Maverick starts at 27 and has 4 doors.
And more than 180 miles of range and, history behind it, let's say. They're gone. I mean, it's tough.
I think that's completely right, and requires no infrastructure in order to, charge it at home
or add speakers, things like that.
So here's a question: Is Slate? I mean, is it over? Like, I noticed they've changed their website to say that it starts in the mid-20s now, because the $20,000 thing was like their big selling point. Is it over? Like, is it over? No,
probably.
Are people still interested in this?
A lot can happen between now and the end of 2026 or whenever they said the first ones were going to come out. They hope certainly that people will be interested in them, but man, that pricing does not work in their favor anymore.
Yeah. Are you interested?
No, I wasn't interested before, but I'm certainly not interested now that it's $7,500.
But you went to their event.
I know,
that
was
didn't
a great
sway
event.
you? No, I figured it wouldn't.
Filippo doesn't get swayed by things like that, although he happily would consume it. So that's it. That's it for Slate. Are we sitting predicting their demise? I mean, Filippo basically just did.
I mean, it's hard to have a demise when you haven't done anything yet. I mean, that's kind of.
They have some pretty serious backers, though. You have to assume they will come to market.
I think they'll come to market. I think there's a chance that it becomes like a cult hit. I think there's a chance that by the time it comes to market, there's other incentives at play that mean it can be interesting again. But
you got to assume there will again be. I just went on this rant about killing the EV tax credit as a mistake, but you got to assume the Democrats get back into power if such a thing is ever possible again. They'll probably put another EV tax, or even a split. A more moderate Congress would probably do it too, recognizing some of the stuff that I was just talking about.
I wouldn't be surprised if they push launch, if they decide to wait till there is a more supportive climate for that. I wouldn't be surprised if they change some of their packaging to add options back in that they had planned to be options to try to make that price point more worth it. But
I will say that if your car is kind of lives and dies by the political winds, it's not really, the Mustang's been going since 64 and a half. Okay?
And that's electric.
It went through Vietnam. It went through the Gulf. It went through 9/11. Here it go. Yeah, now it's an electric SUV. So it's great. It's doing great. So anyway, Slate. This isn't even a news story. Like this is only a news story in the sense that things have changed for them. Like there's no news about it, but it is interesting to speculate on what happens there.
Yeah.
Especially after all the hoopla and hype just a couple of months ago when they first announced.
One of the smartest apps you can have on your phone in 2025 is Upside. Upside gives you the power to earn more on the stuff you buy all the time. Whether you're filling up your tank, going out to eat, or shopping for groceries, the Upside app lets you earn cash back on every purchase. I've been using it a ton this summer. Doug recommended it to me, so I had to try it. Also, I love saving money. Gas stops, meals around town, I'm getting cash back, meaning I have more funds for my GTI. I open the app, claim an offer nearby, pay with my card like normal, and a couple taps later, there's cash in my account. It's that easy. And it's not just a couple of gas stations and restaurants. Upside works at over 100,000 gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. So I've even used it at my local grocery store and a couple random lunch spots that I love. You can earn an average of 8% cash back at restaurants and grocery stores. And the best part, it stacks on top of your regular credit card rewards. It adds up fast. People are earning hundreds of dollars a year with this thing. And with a 4.8 star rating in the App Store, it's easy to see why. Download the free Upside app and use promo code CARS to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code cars.